Alrighty, guys, Bobby Roast Beef here for Jigs and Bigs, and this is the final installment looking back at the entire week of the May 2025 Scavenger Hunt Open, the multi-species Scavenger Hunt Open that went down. I have two very prestigious guests with me today. Let's go ahead and welcome them. We got John Hagans right there, the man who squeaked out that second place win from myself right at the 0 hour, and then Tim Behan went and got a little insurance policy too Sunday night. Very, very nice, gentlemen. Glad to have you on the show, guys. Welcome.
Thank you.
We've been talking about this on the podcast for the last couple of episodes, and how amazing this has been overall. I think for everybody, and you guys have both posted stuff on social media, and we've been tagging each other back and forth and stuff. And honestly, this has been the most amazing 7-day tournament window I've ever experienced in my life, and I want to thank you guys for being a part of it because it was wild. Let's kind of give a little bit of background history on the two of you. So why don't we do this? We'll start with Tim. You jump in and just kind of give a little bit of history about the way you like to fish, and then how you came into the multi-species tournament series in general, and what your experience has been so far. Because your name we've heard a lot from.
Yeah, well, going back, I really don't have a ton of fishing experience. I fished when I was literally in elementary school and a little bit in high school. Loved it.
Yeah.
Couldn't get enough of it. And from high school, that was the last time I fished until 2021, literally.
Yeah, it's common.
I got a kayak and forget it. Once I hit the water in the kayak, I had to fish. Loved it.
Yeah.
And it just went from there. So it's just natural to me. I love it. It's a stress reliever for me. So I love getting out in the water, just fishing. And multi-species, I saw this. I just came around it maybe in 2023, I think I noticed it. And because I'm in the Massachusetts Kayak Bassin League too, and I think I saw it on somebody's post or something like that. Somehow I caught my attention, and I signed up for the first one in 2023, I believe, and I just loved it. You got your own schedule. You get out when you want, where you want, what you want to fish for, and it just fits my schedule, and I enjoy it so much.
That's awesome, man. I love it too. It's and it's funny, that MAKB crew, when we first started things with this, it kicked off initially in early, mid 2020, and there were a lot of supporters from there. Jerry Howes was a name that came up often. Most of the guys like Nate Shagden would pop in almost every month for the most part. And I could definitely see where the connection would get made. But you've won some money doing this stuff. You've been you've placed in the money with some regularity, I would say, since you've kind of gotten in there, and that's pretty awesome. But not to shift gears too much, but John Hagans is a name that we also have been hearing for a while. Same thing, John. Give a little bit of background information as far as how you discovered the multi-species Scavenger Hunt series and when things kind of started going with you.
Alrighty, well, Bobby, we've talked quite a few times, so I'm a catfish guy at heart. I wasn't always. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a bass master like everybody else.
Yep.
And then, once I started hooking into catfish, it kind of turned into a passion from there. But yeah, it's I believe it or not, I was on vacation in Florida when I found the Jigs and Bigs, because I had just got into the online catfish tournament series stuff. So I was on Fishing Chaos, and I just started browsing around, because I fish from the bank. Everything's from the bank, and I was just looking for bank tournaments, and I came across you guys, and I've been there ever since. And that was, what has it been, 3 years now? 2023. I think so, yeah. Yeah,
2022 or 2023. And anyway, that's awesome, man. I didn't realize you discovered it via Fishing Chaos directly.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, because it's one of those things I always wondered what the in the the slot limit series is actually a really good example. With that, I've noticed that there are lots of folks that will just jump in. They've never heard of the podcast, they've never heard of anything, they'll just jump into that just to try it. Yeah. And I feel like we actually gained quite a few listeners from that series. The multi-species, I think, I think we got to get folks to kind of just open their minds and expand the way that they look at their fishing a little bit more.
I, I have never caught a trout until I started fishing this series. I did
And
research to figure out where the hell they were in Ohio, and I
yep.
found brown trout. And now I have a couple favorite spots.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know it's amazing. Like in this week, you know the spread of points went. There was a 2 point spread. Is what there was. We had 12 points took the win. Right. That's 12 different species out of what 22, and 10 was a tie in second place with John ultimately taking the win, having way more inches, like something like 40 more inches in total. A lot of that coming from that last carp too.
Yeah, that and the blue cat.
Yeah, that blue cat helped a lot. I had to play catch up with that something fierce. But it's like I feel like the multi-species stuff gets you out of your element a little bit. It gets you thinking a little bit more creatively and attacking and paying attention to things that maybe as an angler you weren't paying attention to before. So maybe you're looking up fish species population based on lakes in your areas, and you can learn something that these fish are around within a reasonable amount, especially when you look at the monthly. You know, if you've got 30 days to fish, Tim had mentioned earlier before, he's like, you could fish at your schedule. You know, in the monthly, find a spot where you're like, oh, I have to go a couple hours away to go do this. Well, use that as an excuse to go gain new experience somewhere else and challenge yourself a little bit. That's what the mission statement is totally all about here. It's more about the adventure than it really is the competition. But this competition was something else. Now, I'm going to share with you guys initially. I was like, I expected there to be probably about 5 or 6 times the amount of anglers we saw in here this year. But that's something that's common with me. I always think that these tournaments are going to have a much larger turnout than they ever actually do. Because I know the folks that are listening to the show, and I know that like the message is getting out there. It's, you know, we're just not seeing that turnaround of people enter. And when I saw that I was in here alone with the both of you, there was a little bit of panic, to be perfectly honest, because again, you guys have placed up at the top with more regularity, I think, than some others that are up there. And I think it's because you embrace what this is all about, just like getting out there, you know?
I think that one other name might have made this a little crazier is if we could have got Dave Shade in here.
I was just on Instagram like 15 minutes ago, and he went out with a popper and just caught like 25 rock bass, a couple of large. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. He's on the, and he's another guy like fishes completely different, very much diverse with what he's targeting, but almost exclusively as a bank angler, you know. And what a crazy flex, you know.
Yeah.
Dave Shade is definitely one of those. If we ever see Jerry Howes back in one of these, I think we all just have to pack it up. Because that man cannot be stopped. I don't know. I think
he was in the first few I got in.
Oh yeah, and he was. We for a while we're calling him Jerry Multi-Species Howes. So it's just the way that he rolls. But I'll tell you, it's been absolutely awesome. So let's go ahead. We'll take a look at, we'll take a look at what Fishing Chaos has to show right here, as far as like the breakdowns of what our stringers all look like. So we'll start at the bottom, because you'll notice 10 and 10 we're tied, but we are not tied. You'll see that difference in inches in a moment. So the species that I managed to look into this week and for me, I think this number of species in a single week is a record. I have to go back and look at previous months, but I think 10 in 1 week is a record. But we've got rainbow trout, brook trout, crappie, I caught so many crappie this week, guys. It was ridiculous. Sunfish, smallmouth, largemouth, a rock bass, yellow perch, a chain pickerel, and a northern pike. And then we'll go up to what John caught up here, and he's got a crappie as well, a rock bass, a smallmouth, a sunfish. Was that a walleye or a sauger you put in?
It was a saugeye.
It was a saugeye.
Yeah, it was a dink. It was almost disrespectful.
but it was a point, and that's the beauty of it. Yeah. And that's the beauty about this. I love the fact that you can utilize the upgrades to help kind of pad the inches game a little bit. So like if you land like that saugeye was maybe nothing to necessarily write home about, but if you upgraded later in the week, well, you've already got the point, but now you can pad a little bit more for your point, your overall inches, and help your case there. You got a largemouth, a channel cat, a bullhead, a blue cat, and a carp. And Which of those, John, sticks out the most to you?
Believe it or not, the bullhead.
Really?
He was 14 inches. He's Fish Ohio. I got a pin.
It's a good
I
No
asked
size.
him for
kidding,
a pin.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, sir. I've never done the Fish Ohio for pins or anything, and this year I decided, you know what? I catch a lot of big fish,
Yeah.
so I went ahead and entered him, and I was actually at Sandusky Bay right off the lake, and I was coming back down, and there was all the big marshes and stuff, and the
Uh
carp were
huh.
rolling in there. They were spawning still, so I saw somebody else catching stuff. I was like, well, let me pull over and see what's in here, because that would have been a great spot to luck into a bowfin, and that's what I was looking for. And I think I
Yeah.
actually spooked one on the bank.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, and
They're probably spawning.
I probably wasted more time than I should have there. But yeah, the bullheads
Hmm.
that were in there were ridiculous. The guy that was fishing next to me caught one bigger than the one I got. I was like, that's got to be
No.
15, 16 inches.
You know, and it's
And
it's
and those are what, brown bullheads, right?
The one I got was, yeah, that one was a brown. The other
yep.
guy got was a yellow, and I mean, that was the biggest yellow bullhead I've ever seen.
That's
Do you
great.
got white
That's
bullheads
huge.
out there, John?
What's that?
Do you have white bullheads?
No, no. So white bullheads or white catfish,
Yeah.
they're rare, but I hear there's a few in northeastern Ohio
All
up
right.
towards the
Because
lake.
we have them here, and they will
Yeah.
definitely get bigger than the browns.
Yeah.
I've heard that there's some in a couple of bodies of water I was at this past week, and that's the one thing I don't come across any type of catfish, bullhead or otherwise, very often at all. You know, I mean, most of the presentations I'm throwing aren't necessarily things that you're going to hook up with them with any like kind of regularity. Like obviously some of the finessey stuff they will eat, but yeah, I haven't, and I've got to do. That's one thing I need to work on is to be a little bit more open to when I'm fishing, and it's figure out a way how to target some of these species I'm not used to targeting,
Don't be
like.
afraid to reach out.
Yeah. Oh no, you're 100% right. It's just a lot of the time I think it gets down to time management. Like if I were at 9 or 10 points where you guys were earlier on in the week, like on that Wednesday or Friday, I may have at that point then like, all right, so we're gonna go out, we're gonna do some carp and catfish, and we're just gonna set up and do it the right way. Go out and throw some pack bait and see what we can put together. But it is nuts. Let's go over Tim's Tim's stringer because we got 12 fish here for Tim. We've got a channel cat, we've got a crappie, a yellow perch, a smallmouth, a rainbow, a brook trout, a largemouth, a rock bass, a bullhead, a chain pickerel, a sunfish, and a carp. That carp also being on just on Sunday night. Now that's 12 right there. That very well could be a record just in general in a single week's time, which is impressive.
Well,
Tim,
yeah, the carp was, like I said on Instagram, that's a horseshoe up my ass.
yeah,
I was fishing for white perch with a Ned rig,
yep,
and boom, he nailed it. It must have hopped right in front of his mouth. He nailed it. It's the second time I caught a carp on a Ned rig.
no kidding.
And at first I thought it was just a big smallie. I was like, nice.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And then I saw the profile in the water. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a carp. I said, I'll take it.
yeah.
But
It's an
that
excellent
was a
another point.
surprise.
Different kind of bass.
And with the catfish, it's not lures. I go out with corn. I mean, simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, I target. I go out specifically for the catfish. I want to catch both of them the same day if possible, and I did.
Yep.
I went to the Taunton River. You know a hard channel catfish in our area, Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
That's a rare species in our area. So it's one of the major rivers. That's the only places that have them. So I went to the Taunton River.
Yep.
And boom, I catch them there. They're tiny. It's almost a joke, 11-inch, but it's a point.
It counts. That's exactly it. And I'll tell you, like, what can be the ones that can be really challenging are, I've found some of the most challenging species, and it's because of the size minimum. Brook trout can just break your heart because, finding one that's over 8 inches in some of these bodies of water is tricky. Like there's some of them they're just so small. Like especially where I go in the Swift River. There's
That's
so
the
many
natives.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The natives. Yeah.
And it's a challenge. So when you're catching those natives, it's tough. I got real lucky with that. That is one specifically that when I hooked that fish, I was like, all right, this makes me feel really good about how I've done the last couple of weeks because everything else is pretty simple. And then as far as like it's interesting that you said it, that you go out specifically and you target those catfish and use corn, because I went out on Saturday. I went up to one of my favorite spots, and I went out specifically to check off rock bass and yellow perch. And I caught like 3 jumbo yellow perch, like over 12 inch, and the one I entered was 12.5. And the rock bass up there, sometimes you can get on like just a bunch of them that are just a little short. I happened to catch a 9 like right off the rip, so it worked out great.
Yeah.
But like, that is something I think that if there's a tip to learn, I think like that's it. If you're somebody like us that goes out and primarily fishes artificial lures, or like that's our bag primarily, or you're bass fisherman per se, like going out and just saying like, I'm going to go to this body of water and I'm going to throw something. Like I picked up, when I went to that spot on Saturday, I brought night crawlers with me for some bullhead, and I just wasn't able to find any that time. So
that little trick I shared yesterday in the podcast
Mhm.
about the garlic
The
powder.
garlic, yeah.
It works for channels too, and basically I just keep one of the little cups that you get, like
Mhm.
maybe if you get a side of some kind of sauce in, but I keep those plastic cups, and I'll fill it up with
Oh,
garlic powder. And when I hook my worm up, I'll just stick the whole hook and all and shake it up in there and toss it out there. That garlic powder scent gets into the water, and then that night crawler, when they find that night crawler and all that scent, that's what they're going to eat.
yeah.
But I've had it work for carp too.
No kidding. Okay, that's good to know. That's real good to know, because like I've especially with carp, I've been Sunday. I was at a body of water with a good carp population as well, and I remember who were the guests. I think it was Fred Powers and Todd Grubb were talking. They're like, yeah, if you're in one of these situations, like throw your lightest gear, with like a kernel of corn, a wad of bread, something like that. And if you need to catch them, you can catch them that way. I think that might be something that I got to do. That's a good tip though, Tim, as far as getting out there and like specifically saying I'm going to check these boxes off and be stubborn with it. I like that.
My strategy. Day one was trout. I went to the trout pond. That's it. I'm going
Yep.
for trout.
I had a
Period.
similar strategy too.
Oh yeah, no, I think you generally, I think you really do. You need to. Now let's talk overall inches, total length here as far as this goes. As far as total length goes overall, John took the win here at 168.5 inches. But Tim, you're not too far behind either at 163 and a quarter. I had a ways to go to catch up to you guys. If I could have gotten like a good pike, that would have helped a little bit. If I could have put like a 40 in the boat, that would have been great. But not so much. Not this time around. 137 and 3/4 inches total. What was John? Your biggest fish, I believe, was the blue, right? At 37.5 inches. Let's take a quick look at that right here. We'll take a look at your entries right here. The blue. Look at the size of this blue right here. My God. My God.
When I laid him out on the other board, he actually came to 38. That's my biggest blue in my the current catfish tournament for me right now, which I'm still holding on to first place by almost 50 inches.
Jesus, dude, that's amazing. And that's a really good point, John. You're enrolled in other tournaments doing this at the same time, so this fish got to play double duty for you.
Oh yeah.
That's freaking awesome, man. And I want to give anybody who's watching this what John is doing right here is the perfect example of how to measure a fish that is too large for the board. By default in the tournament, if you don't have any other type of device, whatever the overall length is, that's a 32-inch catch board, right? Yep. That you've got, yeah, man, that's smart because you fish for a lot of these really large species, so that 32 is a great idea. So you put something on there, and you'll get the 32 for it,
Right.
But what we always tell everybody, and it's much smaller, but I keep a little tailor's tape, and I just line it. If it hasn't happened where I've needed it yet, I usually use this tailor's tape to take girth measurements of the fish, so that if I want to do a replica, I can. So I take this tape and I just run it. You line it up just like you did, right where the dam is there, and then run it right alongside parallel, and then you've got basically a 0 mark, and you can see the entire length. So you did this exactly right, and that's a beautiful fish, dude. I know that people. hate on catfish all the time, but that is an absolute freaking
That,
behemoth.
those are out of Hoover Reservoir, and I'll tell you what, they are some pretty clean fish.
Oh yeah, I mean, some of these fish you put in are absolute tanks, dude. It's unfreaking believable. Let's take a look at Tim's biggest fish here. That was the carp from Sunday night, right?
That's my first mirror carp. Yeah.
That's a beautiful carp too. I mean, let's get a good look at this one right here. I'm so glad this is working out with the screen share like this. What a gorgeous mirror, man. Absolutely, just a beautiful fish right there. And like,
Looks like he's been spawning.
oh yeah, I'll bet you. It's the right time of year, you know,
Yes.
absolute right time of year. And when they're spawning, like they're grouping up big time. So like if you get on a bite, you should be able to catch multiples, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, not with a Ned rig.
Yeah, maybe not with a Ned rig. Yeah, I know a lot of people who have caught carp on artificials as bycatch. Sean the Fisherman being one of them, and it's just one of those fish I have never come across with that's been interested in anything I've been throwing. But I know that they eat such a wide variety of forage. You know, they really do. So like small swim baits will do the job for them, and grubs, stuff like that. Like if they can get it in their mouth, they'll take a swipe at it.
I
Believe
caught
it
a
or
carp
not.
in a MAKB tournament up in the Sudbury River.
Oh really?
Same
I didn't know
thing,
there were
a
carp
Ned
in
rig.
there.
Boom. I thought it was a pike because there's some pike in the
Oh yeah.
river there too. And it's huge. So I thought it was a pike. And I was like, don't break the line with the teeth, And
Oh for sure.
eventually it was like, oh, it's a carp.
That is freaking badass. So my biggest fish this tournament was actually a chain pickerel, and it was a delight. It was bigger than my pike. It was 20 and a quarter inches, 20 and a quarter inches in total. This was an upgrade that came in on Saturday, I believe. Yeah, it was. It came in on Saturday, and it was an upgrade that I really needed. Unfortunately, that same body of water, was it 2 weeks prior? I caught a 25. That would have been very, very helpful. Unbelievably helpful, actually.
Nice.
But yeah, it was. I mean, overall, it was pretty freaking amazing. We had some. I was surprised some of the species that didn't show up. Like we didn't have anybody put a brown trout in. I figured one of us would have for sure put one in.
I spent Sunday morning probing all my holes. Of course, trying to fish on the weekend when it's elbow to elbow. Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
man. Probing all the holes, right?
Yes, I had to. I don't know if you guys can hear the rim shot. I'm doing the effects. I don't think it's actually going to record on, but I'm going to add them after the fact in the finished video. But it is so good. It is just amazing. Like I mean, I'm not surprised we're in any snakehead. It is unfortunate that on Mother's Day I did catch a giant tiger trout, which did me no good for this tournament. I caught that thing. I had it in the net, and I was just like, man, you're a day late. Or you're a day too early. And no white perch at all
So
this
here's the
month.
crazy thing. On my way back down from Sandusky, I decided to drive through Fremont, Ohio, which is just south of Sandusky Bay
Yep.
on the Sandusky River, and the white bass run is going.
Oh, all
Well, the
right.
white perch had been mixing in with the white bass, and I
Yep.
didn't even think about it till after I went, because I wanted to stop back at the Mad River on the way
Yep.
home. And I was like, you goofy asshole. You could have got down there and probably caught a white perch.
Oh, for
So
sure.
now I'm going to make another argument for the white bass.
Yep.
I just read that the white perch and the white bass have been
They're related.
interbreeding.
Yeah.
They've been interbreeding.
Oh, interbreeding,
Yeah,
really?
they've been hybridizing some.
Freaky little bastards.
Yeah. So I
I
actually
tried
had.
3 times. I tried 3 times for white perch.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know
was-
if they're mating, and they're just I couldn't find them.
Yeah, it's one of those species that I don't come across a whole lot. They're in a handful of the bodies of water that I fish, but it's just one of those things. When I do luck into one, I'm like, this is amazing. What was one of the first times I ever fished in New Jersey? I think I caught 3. I was like, you got to be kidding me! I couldn't. I know the bodies of water that they're in, but it's just such a crapshoot.
This time of year when they're spawning, knowing what I know now that they're almost exactly like white bass, I would check tributaries.
Yep.
'Cause if they're spawning, they're running tributaries.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's just one of those odd fish that are so like because of the name white perch. A lot of people, think of them in one way, but in all actuality, they're related to bass, which is
temperate.
kind of crazy, kind of nuts, man. This is absolutely awesome. Do you guys have anything you want to, mention or anything, or any shout outs that you want to give before we go ahead and wrap up?
Got to do it again.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. We're going to do it again for sure.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to step back for a little while. I know you don't want to hear that.
Oh, I hear you. Actually, you know what? That might not be the worst thing, John, because it might make some room for some other folks to say, like, because that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking with, you guys have your spot, the three of us, we have our spot in the championship ready. Like, we essentially, and that's why I did this way. This way, we know who can get into it. And I will say that I think the monthly is fun. It is great.
It is.
But I mentioned this on the podcast, something about this being in a little package, a 1 week package of just going as hard as you possibly can to catch as many species as possible. It's next level. And I think that the championship is just going to be like crack cocaine. Like
chaos.
Yeah, it's going to be bananas because I'm already thinking of ways to be more efficient,
Oh yeah.
Because I think the record has been like 7 or 8 species in a day, like one single day.
John got 8, didn't he?
Was it 8?
Did I get 8?
I think John got 8.
Yeah, I did get 8 because I hit a brick wall for a while and then I got number 9.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you did. You did freaking 8 that first day. I was like, what the hell's even happening here? So I mean, if you can do that in a single day, I think the championship's going to come down to your bodies of water and how you can effectively balance them back and forth. And it's also nice at the championship because you only have to screw up a weekend. That's the best part,
It's going to be even more of a crapshoot, especially that time of year with
that's going to be. Yeah, that's true too. That is true too. Well, we'll see what happens. October is going to be interesting. I'm going to push really, really hard to get everybody into the Open for October so they can join us. I'd love to see realistically 10 anglers in the championship, and in order to be able to pull that off, we need 7 in October to join the Open because it's going to be unbelievable. But what now, because the championship kind of has a question mark here, do you guys think we should do a regular payout or should we do winner take all for the championship?
It doesn't bother me. I'm not in it for the money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not either,
If I had to play in the spirit of competition, I'd say winner take all, second place takes home some hardware.
Oh, that wouldn't be a bad idea. That wouldn't be a bad idea at all. I am definitely there's going to be a trophy or some kind of a plaque or something like that. And I'm hoping to really blow it up because the goal is I want to turn this into that, a trending competition. I think that there's a market for this. We could actually tie all of these different anglers together. Oh, yeah. I'd love to see a fly fisherman get in here and just go hard. Oh, yeah. I'd love to see that.
There's some fly fishermen up here that they look forward to their trout, but they especially look forward to the white bass run.
Oh, and the fly anglers that fish for carp as well. I mean, it's nuts. Up here, we have some fly anglers that fish for stripers, and that's bananas. I can't even imagine what that's like. But
right,
yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll mix it up and we'll see what the coming months and what next May looks like. But thanks very much, gentlemen. It was an honor competing with you, and I definitely had a blast doing it. I look forward to doing it again. I might jump into the October one just to kind of put October in this cute little package as well. But thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'll definitely be back by September.
I love that.
Great.
All righty, fellas. Oh, appreciate you too. We will see you guys next episode of Jigs and Bigs podcast, available on all of your favorite podcast platforms, and check out more videos right here on the Jigs and Bigs YouTube channel as well. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you. Have a good one.